Stephanie Ingles and Brie Stevens here with Lake Life Realty. Welcome to 2024. It's already halfway through the month, but we thought it might be fun to kind of take a look back. Every year, you know, we meet so many different clients and people and have so many experiences, but some of our memories and crazy memories and the good ones too, but just kind of take a peek back and talk a little bit about what we've experienced.
Yeah, we figured it'd be fun to share the ins and outs of the everyday. Some people think they know what it's like to be a realtor, but they don't know the whole picture of being a realtor. Yeah. Particularly in all 4 seasons in New Hampshire.
Yes.
There's a theme there too. But we want to get better at sharing these with you, and we just were calling ones off the top of our head, but part of our New Year's resolutions is to write down fun ones, serious ones, just totally weird, anything that's memorable, because we talk about them, but we can't recall them when we need to.
We leave the showing or the appointment and we instantly call each other and be like, oh my God, you'll never guess what happened, but we never write them, we forget to write them down. Yeah. So there's a few that'll stick out in our brain that we can't forget, but
so these probably are some of the top ones.
Yes.
So lucky you for tuning in and getting to experience and relive these fun ones, mostly fun ones.
I know.
with us. So we'll start with the fun. Fun or unexpected things that you'll never forget that took place when showing a property.
The one that always comes to mind, it was now 2 summers ago, but the one that always comes to mind, it was an island property that we were selling. We were selling the whole island itself. So Brie was actually being the chauffeur in the boat, like transporting agents and their clients to the property, and I was at the island itself. So I remember I got on the boat instantly at the end. I was like, oh my God, you'll never guess what happened. So it was very popular. It was a Saturday. We had back-to-back showings. So there was multiple people on the island, and it was no septic system, no running water, no electricity, pretty much glorified camping, but they did have like an outhouse with a composting toilet, which was separate from the main house. So I'm
totally functional, usable.
Yeah, functional, usable, very accessible.
That's what you would use.
So I'm showing an agent and some clients. We'd shown the house. We went down by the outhouse, if you want to call it that, the shed, and we were standing next to the composting toilet. I removed the padlock, opened the door, gave him a little tour as best we can, and I'm turning around to walk away, and all of a sudden I saw like a foof of white out of the corner, and the woman just decided to pee on the ground, like pop a squat and pee, and all you could hear was peeing, and I was like, we were standing next to this composting toilet.
You're like, what, 6 feet, you said?
Oh, I was probably 6 feet. My back was to her, and I turned around and was like, I could not believe it. I was like, Brie, you'll never guess. This woman just popped a squat and peed on the island, and I don't think anyone else saw her, but I was like,
oh, you could have heard her.
You probably did hear her, yeah. I was gonna say,
a big island.
Oh my gosh. So I don't know. I'll never forget. I was like, ironically, she didn't buy it. So the people who in the end bought it, there was a woman that peed on it, and it's when nature calls, right? I guess that was.
Oh my gosh!
Never forget that. But
yeah, all kinds of people we meet.
Yeah.
One that I had thought of too, and this was a while ago too. Yeah. But basically, I was showing a waterfront property in Molten Borough, and I was the listing agent. I did not represent this buyer. The buyer came and decided he needed to check out the lake quality in such a way that no one ever had before. So he basically stripped down and jumped into the water. But he didn't jump into the water just like he jumped off the dock, went far out where the swim raft was located, like far out, and dove down probably like 10 feet or so where that swim raft is, and came up screaming, "This is good sand," from the bottom of the lake. But he brought the sand up with him. I think he did it like 2 more times.
It's important.
The agent and I and the rest of his family is just shaking their head like this is just what they're
used to.
They're used to out of him. That buyer's agent was like shocked. He had not experienced this as of yet, but it was very important for him to go swimming, reach down and bring the sand, and he brought the sand back for the whole family to also view.
Touch,
make sure it wasn't a mucky bottom. It was a nice sandy bottom.
Goes to say you never know what the important features are to a buyer, like when they're
most don't think of that, and it is an important feature. So he took matters into his own hands, and literally, and went for a swim. It was summertime, so that was fine.
Oh, God. And then just a couple other notable ones that we don't have to go the whole story is one of them was a large property. We had a carriage house that had a giant turntable for vehicles in it. And Brie and I were shooting the property video that day and had been there for a long time. All the doors had been open for a long time. It was like 9:30 at night. We're shutting lights off. And there was
We're animal lovers.
Yeah, we are. Well, you were committed. A bird had gotten in. And it's a good-sized carriage house. And we were just so ready to leave at that point.
Oh, gosh.
I will spare Brie, but I have a video. I was pregnant at the time, so I didn't like chase the bird as much as Brie did, but
I found a rake. I think I found a rake, and was running around trying to get the bird to go out the side doors at 9:30 at night.
The video
running around just with this rake, and you can hardly see the bird in the video. I just look like a crazy person running around.
It took forever.
Like throwing this rake all around, and Steph's just cracking up, dying, laughing.
And I felt bad because I'm not helping at all. I'm literally filming you laughing. But the bird, it did leave.
Yeah.
And then
then I was like, when do we stop? We put this much effort into this. I can't just
leave the bird here.
Yeah. So we had to finish the job.
Oh my God. And then the only other thing I can remember is. Oh, great client of ours. I've known him for a long time. We went to see, it was at the time a $7 million property, and he showed up and he got out of the car and he goes to me and the listing agent who he'd never met. I apologize if you hear any weird noises coming out of my shirt. I just bought sugar gliders. And we were like, okay. And they have to bond with me. So they were in a pouch inside of his shirt underneath his like overshirt. And the listing agent was like, okay. And the whole time it sounded like radio antenna, like ET or something. And he's like, oh, don't worry, it's just the gliders.
But it's also like, you have to paint a picture of like, he's a very unassuming $7 million buyer as well.
Yes.
So the agent showing the home was probably like, who the heck did you just bring Steph? Are they actually qualified to buy this property?
Yes, probably. You forget about that too when you show up.
Because they just bought sugar gliders at the fair.
Yes, I was going to say. He showed up and he was like, his wife was kind of like, we went to the Topsfield Fair. He wanted sugar gliders. We left with sugar gliders. He still has them to this day. That was at least, 4 or 5 years ago. Sugar gliders still have a home and at the lake. So anyway, I'll never forget that one. But so those are some like the funny things. Another one situation we were talking about is obviously, well, not obviously, as real estate agents, we are constantly, staging or moving pillows, sweeping off decks, blowing leaves off of something. That to us is standard preparation for a property. But we've done a lot of other things, like service-wise, to go above and beyond for not even just our clients, but it's just part of the service that we provide. And sometimes we question, we're like, what did we get ourselves into?
Wasn't the best thing to do.
Yes, exactly. So for example, I've closed someone been in a closing in the ER. I was like, it has to happen. The paperwork has to be signed. Thank goodness for the title company who was willing. That was Maria Armano at the title team. She was willing to mask up in the midst of COVID, and we went into the ER and we had to sign paperwork. So with masks and gloves, we got it done.
And then questionable was also selling an island property in the wintertime. But we thoroughly thought we were equipped and had the means, and we did.
Yeah,
we did do it successfully.
I think we closed in the end of February or something.
But if you had asked someone, was that the best safe thing to do on the day we brought out, what did we forget? We had a snowmobile trailer down to Long Island, boat launch. We had a side-by-side. Where did we even get the side-by-side?
I think we borrowed it from De Silva's.
Yes, De Silva's.
Shout out to De Silva's.
Yes,
we
De
borrowed
Silva's
it.
let us borrow a side-by-side, and we went across the lake in these things, transporting ourselves, the buyers and the buyer's agent, across the lake to the island property in winter. It's cracking. The buyer's agent, after we got back, he was like, I was ready to jump.
Yes. And then we had to, that was all like to show the property. Yeah. And then there was financing. So we had to bring an appraiser out because it's waterfront. We had to bring a site assessor out. So I remember me even making the phone calls, like the appraiser would call and I'd say, are you prepared to get on a snowmobile and drive to an island? And surprisingly, we had one site assessor that was like, no, not doing it. So it's...
Yeah, it is. And if you don't know the lake too, like, it can be frozen, but there still can be open pockets. Also, when you approach the shore, there still can be bubblers at the docks.
Yeah.
So you can see open water and you don't know how far that actually extends out. Maybe snow covered.
It was a memory.
We made it. It was also really, really, really cold.
And there was no heat, obviously, in the home because it's an island property, winterized. So, yeah, that was a commitment. Our husbands were involved in that one, too. So, you know, shout out to the supportive spouses out there for doing that. But it was...
We made it happen.
It was something we did. I'm trying to think. And then the other thing, there are a few regrets. And when we say regrets, like, more from a sake of, like, maybe we shouldn't have risked our lives to go do certain things.
Was it really worth it?
Yeah, was it worth it? One of those was I was pregnant with the boys. I was like 8.5 months pregnant, so it was probably end of July, early August. It was so hot, like a 95-degree day. It was a beautiful property. It was already under contract, but they wanted to walk some of the trails. It was situated on 22 acres on a gentle, gradual slope down.
I wouldn't call it very gradual.
It looks like a gradual slope from the house.
That's why you made that decision.
Yeah, that's why I made the decision. It looked like a very gradual slope down to like the wooded area in the field. And the buyers were like, I represented both sides, and they were like, we'd love to all go down. The seller was actually there too, showing them around. And I said, I had a dress on and some flip-flops, and I'm like,
she had flip-flops on that are little slices of cardboard. Like the smallest slices of cardboard.
Oh, yeah. And my Lake Effect dress, which if anyone knows what those are, that's what I lived in when I was pregnant in the summer, like the stretchy, comfy dresses. And so we start trekking down the hill. I was fine. I swear there was 22 acres. I think we walked probably about 20 of them in the trails, in the woods. And then all of a sudden I realized I've got to walk back up this hill. And when I say panting, I was panting. Everyone kept looking at me like, are you sure you want to go? Are you sure you're okay? I got back and I had to I think I did one of these, I'm going to have a seat, like come find me in a minute. It was definitely probably not the safest thing for my health at that time, but I'll never forget trekking up that hillside. I never made it to closing either because I went into labor.
Yep.
That was the unfortunate thing. So it was like no closure for that one, but it happened.
Yeah, and there's little things. That was a big thing. My little thing that I could just recall for this off the top of my head was just, you want that little shot. I wanted that little Instagram story of this property on Long Island in Moultonborough down in the snow. And the snow had been there for a while, so I thought it was hard packed enough. It had been freezing so that I could just skim and walk across the top. So I went on the side of the property to go down to the waterfront to get the nice story. I didn't need it. I think it was probably under contract or something. I just thought it'd be great for content. And no, the snow did not hold my body. I went through the snow halfway in. My phone was fine because it was lightweight, and my phone went sliding down the hill towards the water, far, far away from any help I could get from it. So I'm stuck about 3 feet deep in the snow, and I wasn't sure how I was going to get out because I'm just on top. So I'm trying to get out, and it keeps crunching and falling in the snow, and I just keep burying myself. You pull your boot out, and my boot was stuck in the snow. My shoe came out, so now I have my boot full of snow, and just my foot out in the open. And eventually I got out. I was just thinking to myself, if they have cameras,
I was just gonna say,
if the neighbor has cameras, this needs to be on America's Funniest Home Videos because it just looks like this sad woman stuck in the snow, and her phone is down on the other side. So I still had to go get my phone.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember.
There are a lot of those scenarios with if these people have cameras, not in a bad way, just like
that's so funny.
It would be.
Yeah, well, if they had YouTube, if people filmed us, like
oh yeah, if people actually filmed us, like the bird scenario, and there's endless other ones of the things we do, moving things, prepping things, it would be
running around just
like or even, and we could go on and on clearly, but like with TikToks and stuff before you figured out, like there was also,
I didn't know how to speed it up and slow it down.
It was a few years ago.
So I personally myself would speed up and slow down, and Steph would just be like, what the frick are you doing? And I would just like slow, and then I'd run, and then I'd slow while trying to be steady.
All for the shot.
And if you could
all for the shot.
Film what that looked like.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Like the behind the scenes of the person filming. So anyway, I think it's a good goal for us this year, not only to talk about it, but like
and share this and remember.
We'll probably share some of those behind the scenes things of filming.
Yes.
I think it's the reality, and I think that's important to see and important for people to understand. It's what
it's fun. It's what keeps us funny.
Yeah, it's what keeps
now.
us
It
laughing.
wasn't funny in the snow at the time, but
it's always fun.
Yeah.
So that's our goal. If there's anything you'd like to know though personally, or like, is there something weird or something happened, shoot us a question. We're honest about this. We're open books. There's really nothing we have to hide about anything we've done. So
we'll try and recover our memory more and share some of these with you going forward and what is yet to come. Yeah. Can't wait for 2024s.
I'm sure Cassie will have some when she's around. So
All right.
everybody have a good day.
Thanks. Bye.